Good evening, people, and welcome back to Where the Owl Sleep. It is a Sunday session, and I am Mitch. 1 second, let me just have a little play about. 1 second. This is not how it was meant to go down. Yes. Replace in all C. Right, cool. Welcome back to the Sunday sessions on Where the Owl Sleep. I am Mitch. Here with my co-host Stock. How's it going, Stocky? You good?
Mate, I am all good. And don't want to let the cat out of the bag, but first cup of the season's been doled out this afternoon.
That is exactly why I'm scrambling around. I am slightly inebriated, so it didn't quite go as planned, but we're here. We're good to go.
Mate, it went exactly how it was planned.
Yeah, carnage. Exactly. That's what my afternoon's been. It's been fantastic. I love it. Let's carry on with the process.
Right. So luckily, we've got Newcastle's chief hater on with us today as well. Haven't we, in Samir?
Of course we have. Here he is. How's it going, Samir?
Oh, fucking hell. It's the worst. I said earlier, this is the worst day of my life. It's the worst day. I hate seeing people win. I hate seeing people win, especially underdogs. I hate them. I hate underdogs. I just hate seeing people win.
Wait, get this underdog talk, bro, by the way. Not having that today.
You don't think you was underdogs in that game?
No, I'm just not accepting the fact that you're going to try and call us underdogs.
No, you were definitely underdogs in that game, and I really wanted Liverpool to win because I need your striker. But here you go.
That's not a nice way of I was going to say that's not a nice way of congratulating him on winning, mate.
No, I just did. Way. Good win for Newcastle.
Oh, was that your Geordie impression? Yeah, mate.
Yes.
Okay, mate. If we have an end of season awards, we'll have to try and think of something to put up because that was
I'm
terrible.
not going to be here for that. I'm not going to be here for that. They have a trophy. I'm not going to be here for that. I'm surprised I'm here now because, like I said, it's the worst day of my life. It is honestly the worst day of my life. I said in the chat as well, Mitch don't deserve this.
Why?
He doesn't deserve this.
But why don't I deserve this? I don't understand your hate for me.
I don't know. I just don't feel like you deserve this.
Why?
I honestly don't. Of all clubs as well, Newcastle. You don't deserve this. I feel sick. Well,
it's only been 70 years, but it's calm. Yeah, we don't deserve it.
Right, before Samir digs himself in a bigger hole. Good evening, John. Thanks for joining as well.
Yeah, sorry, man. Eventually, right? That took a few attempts. Mitch, how you feeling?
In a footballing sense, fantastic.
Yeah. Heart rate gone down yet?
The heart rate has calmed down. I'm sort of back in the mindset that I thought I would be when we finally won a trophy. But I'm also a little bit shameless with it. So
that's fair.
That's probably the alcohol still flowing through the system.
What I would say, and funnily enough, John's the perfect person to attest to this because Mitch showed us a little video of when the full-time whistle went, and John can say me and him acted exactly the same way when we won our trophies. It was kind of it's happened, and I don't know how to process it.
It's all of you because that video that Mitch sent into the group, right? I took that video of you in an unnamed location when West Ham won the Conference League.
Yeah,
and and in a similar way, right? So a sort of mutual friend of all of ours, Sean, Tottenham fan. When I know it's not the same as winning a trophy, but this is the nearest I've seen to it. When they beat Ajax, that last-minute goal, like the Lucas Moura hat trick, it was the exact same bit, literally even down to this. And it was just a sea of chaos going on around the pub and pints going everywhere. And Sean was just stood like this and just almost numb, didn't say a word, just pure disbelief. I think like I could kind of see that in like what Mitch said earlier, man. It's great. It's cool.
I'd say I think it's safe to say, and I know Mitch would definitely attest to this. For our teams, trophies don't come that often, so when it comes, it's extra fucking sweet, and it's to be enjoyed even more.
Oh, fuck off.
100%. Do you know what?
Oh, fuck off.
Samir, your hate is really going to make tonight hard for you.
Do you know what? This is going to be me doing the emotion bit and the shameless bit all in one little segment. So that video that I sent to everybody earlier was my Uncle Pete, who I've got to big up massively because he's a Liverpool fan, yeah. And we watched the game together in O'Neill's. And he was probably, well, I don't know how many he was outnumbered by because none of the other Liverpool fans showed that they were there at the time. But there was about 10 Newcastle fans in the place. And it completely changed the dynamic of everything for me to enjoy it with other Newcastle fans. So when the goals went in, we were all hugging and jumping. And then when the final whistle went, it was the same. But the video I sent was my moment of realization.
Yeah.
And there was like actual tears because I've literally waited my whole life for us to win a trophy. And it was like, rah, this has just happened. I don't even know who to be right now.
What I can say, mate, it carries on getting better. And every time you see them 2 goals, you just get the goosebumps. And like I can actually hear Samir being sick in his mouth, which is going to make me eulogize it a little bit more. But every time you see it, you get the goosebumps. So you kind of think, "Oh yeah." And then people that. So when you get these muggy Arsenal and Chelsea supporters, Man United supporters that go, "Oh, well, we don't have a good season," they don't actually know what it's like. They genuinely don't.
What, to win a small cup?
Bro, don't talk to me about a small cup, yeah? Right. This is where I'm going to stomp it. I'm going to start stomping people out. No matter what I'm talking, no matter what stream I'm on, no matter who's there, talk to me about a small cup, yeah? Liverpool in the final. Liverpool in the final have just stomped you into irrelevance in the league, yeah? We beat you in the semi-final, who are second in the league. We beat Nottingham Forest in the competition, who are third in the league. We beat Chelsea, who are in the top 6 in the league, yeah? Don't talk to me about irrelevance. We've done this the hard way. I ain't having this. If we'd gone through and beat League One and League Two teams all
You
the way
won
to
a
the
trophy that
final,
Tottenham won, God knows, long ago. You won. What did Swansea won it?
who cares?
God.
Who cares? You was in
Yeah,
the
I still
semi-final.
remember
you're
Birmingham
You're
beating you
United.
to it a
You're
while back.
United.
You know.
Man
Regardless
United.
of all of
That's
that,
another team that's down there, no?
one question. Was you
God.
full strength in both legs of the semi-final?
Yeah, we were.
Then shut your mouth, bruv. I'm
We
not
were
having
in both.
it.
We were in good. Yeah,
That's the only question I need answered right now. If you wasn't full strength in both, if you was B team in both semi-finals, I would accept this talk from you. You was full strength.
Okay.
I'm
Okay,
not
but
having it. We
Mitch,
slapped you up both times. 2-0 both legs,
it's
4-0
Mitch.
two
Let me
legs.
ask you a question. Is the season over? Is the season over? At
Well, then,
least if you win an FA Cup, the season's done. Like you could carry that. Are you gonna have an open bus trophy parade?
can you win a trophy?
Are you going? Yes, we can.
What trophy?
Technically we can, but
Don't
like
come
we
with me
won't.
at technicalities, bro. Real
No,
Madrid
we're in the Champions League still. Come on, we're still in the Champions
I
League.
don't care about. We were in the Champions League last year, but we were never going to win it, bro.
But you didn't even make it past group stage.
Yes, they
We were
did.
never going to win that.
No,
There's
they
no
didn't. They didn't make it
participation
past group
award
stage.
and all of that.
Oh.
Get
No,
out
but
here.
I'm just saying, we're still in a trophy. We have a trophy. People are cancelling, like they're taking us out of it because of who we're facing and the teams that are still in
No.
it.
People are
But we're
taking
still
you
in it.
out of it because you're not good enough to win it.
Yeah, we're not. Especially after today's game.
Okay.
But at the
Then
same time,
cool.
is the
We
season
got you out
over?
of this trophy that we
Is this?
won and then
Yeah,
won
but is the
against
season
the
over?
team that have slapped you up for the league this season. You
Is the
have no
season?
test for me right now.
Stop. When you won your trophy, was the season done?
Yeah, it was the last game of our season.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. There we go. So Mitch, you won a trophy
Oh,
mid-season,
Samir, you're clutching.
and we're still going. We're still going
Why is that relevant?
because it's a trash trophy. It's trash.
How about cool?
It's trash. That's
How
still Champions
about
League.
this? Yeah, by the end of the season, when we're both in the Champions League next year, and we have a
I
Carabao
don't know
Cup,
about that one.
and
I
you
don't know
have
about that one.
nothing, what are you going to say to me then?
Wait, hold up. wait, hold up. So you're guaranteeing me that you're gonna get Champions League next season?
We're finishing top 5.
I don't know about that one.
You don't know about. Do you know what
I
I
don't
know?
know
Do
about that one.
you know what I know? You're not
You,
winning the Champions League. How about that? And we have won the Carabao Cup. How about that?
what the fuck is the Carabao Cup, man? This is why I don't want you to win it, man. I'm
Samir.
Wait, you
fuming.
say this. You say what is the Carabao Cup? Yeah. You
Yeah.
play full strength in both legs in the semi-final. Your club
What does
cares
that
about
mean?
it.
What does
Don't
that mean?
come at me with this fan. It doesn't mean nothing stuff. When
It
your
don't
club
mean
wanted
anything.
to win it,
It don't mean anything.
your club wanted to win it. Why go full
It,
strength
it,
in 2 legs?
it used to be a February thing. Like everyone used to play it in February. Like the final was in February.
So
You
why does
got a
that make it
whole
better than
season to play.
than
You got
the final being in March, bro? Why does that make it better?
yeah, but and we still got football to play. That's what I'm saying. Like no one cares. We're gonna forget
Yeah.
about it tomorrow.
Samir, please be consistent with your point. There's still football to play, but there's
Yeah.
more football to play when you're in February than when you're
So
in the
we
middle of
so
March.
we move on
Your
from that
point wasn't
trophy.
even consistent.
We
That's not.
move on from that trophy. Like especially when you win
All right,
an FA Cup, you win
Uh,
the FA Cup, you win a
all right.
conference, whatever West Ham won. You got the whole summer. You've got all that to get through. You can't even celebrate that. Are you gonna have an open top bus parade? Are you gonna have that parade? You can't.
to be
You can't.
fair, the picture on the screen looks like we're celebrating it.
Okay, but are you gonna have an open top bus parade? That's my question. You can't.
Once the season's done,
Of course you can.
No, you can't. They're going to international.
I
They're gone.
myself
Everyone's going to
in this
international
same
break.
jumper is going all the way up to anyone to
Are
celebrate.
you going to have an open top bus parade?
Yes,
How?
at the end of
Your
the
players
season,
have
like a
got to
normal
travel.
club would do.
They, your
Samir,
players
man.
have got to travel
All right,
tomorrow to
Samir,
go
shut.
international break.
Samir,
Samir,
shut up for a
look,
minute now
you,
because you're
you see
fucking
what this
boring.
is, yeah?
Yeah. What?
Salted
What's
shredded
that?
chicken from the Chinese shop. This has less salt than you have right now.
Yeah, I'm fuming. I'm not gonna lie, I'm fuming. This is the worst
All
of
right.
my
I'm
life.
better than that,
Anyway,
bro.
This is the worst day of my
anyway.
life.
All
But
right,
are you?
Samir,
Go on.
Samir,
Yeah.
shush,
Go.
shush. We've talked about the aftermath of this game. Now let's actually talk about what happened during the game. John, did you manage to catch any of it before these two start again?
Do you know what? Yes, I did. And I don't know, man. I'll reiterate, man. I am buzzing for Newcastle as a fan base.
Oh, fuck off.
I,
I'm joking.
no, genuine. Having been up to St James's, and ironically, I think it was the day you mentioned Swansea winning the League Cup, right? I
Yeah.
remember watching Swansea win the League Cup in Newcastle because we went up there. That we was up there that day. We got we played at like 2 o'clock or whatever in the pub with Newcastle fans afterwards. Genuinely, like the best group of supporters, like in terms of like home fans as an away. We stood there like they were like just trays of like Yangers and Sambucas being passed out. We're all just getting like mashed up watching the final together. It's brilliant, brilliant, brilliant stuff. Genuinely, as a fan base, man, I can't think of one besides Southampton that deserve a trophy like as much as Newcastle do, man. Genuinely, like it's brilliant. But in terms of the game, like be interested to know what Mitch made of it. I actually thought pretty much from start to finish, Newcastle wanted and won every battle. Like honestly, just everything. I thought over, yeah. Isak was running he's running his nads off from the front. He was wonderful. Gimaresh and Joe Linton did a fantastic job. Tonali, I think the midfield is what won it. Just in terms of what do you got? What did you guys make of it?
Okay, that's cool. I'll do that.
All right, I'll go on. Newcastle
I
better
can't hear anything.
were superb all over the park. How done some set beats that were really interesting. Um, how Liverpool never dealt with Newcastle's superiority at the set piece was baffling. Leaving Dan Burn in that much space every free kick was wild. I thought. They outfought Liverpool at every juncture. They outworked them.
Yeah.
I don't know if it was a Liverpool deficiency or a Newcastle tweak. I suppose Joe Linton was on the sort of Newcastle's left, so that would be Salah's side for Liverpool. But Salah barely got a touch.
He didn't have a sniff, yeah.
I think I saw Ant and Deck more times than I saw Salah today.
I could go with that.
Yeah.
Like, genuinely, I could go with that. It's
Fully agree. But without me, like, I'm not even trying to be an idiot here. I have said multiple times since Lewis Hall's injuries that I like the Livramento versus Salah matchup. It's a good matchup for me. Salah's about pace, little jinky movements. Livramento is our best defensive fullback. And when Salah cuts in on his left foot, Livramento's coming in towards the box on his right foot. I've said this before as well, that I believe that's the next evolution of formations. And it works for us today. We outworked them. Potentially PSG had an effect on them midweek, and the legs might not have been there, but we did everything we possibly could to put them off their game. And
Absolutely.
We'll probably get onto it a little bit later about Dan Burn and the England call-up, but he was a man mountain today.
Yeah, he was.
I'm not even going to pretend that I've been his biggest fan all season. He's one of the ones that I would rather replace. But today, he was a clear man of the match. Clear man of the match for me. And a week ago, I wasn't optimistic. Tuesday evening, a little bit of optimism came back. Trent out. I thought Konate would be out. Then 24 hours later, Dan Burn gets called up to the England squad. Loads of omens. And I had a feeling. So this morning, I put on 2 bets. Newcastle 2-1, Dan Burn, anytime goal scorer.
Wow.
Newcastle 2-1, Tonali, anytime goal scorer. The only thing I did wrong on them 2 bets was I bottled it at 75 minutes and cashed out. And that was it. Up, I cashed out for 90-something pound or for £2.50 bet, and then Liverpool went and scored in the 94th minute.
What was you on for if you hadn't have done?
3 something. But I would have paid. I would have paid 10 times that to have been sat in the stadium today.
Yeah.
Sat O'Neill's Leytonstone with about 10 Newcastle fans. I was an emotional wreck. So to experience that feeling in the stadium with all of the flags and with all of the fans is just priceless. I don't care about that. Today is the first time we've won a trophy in my lifetime. And we deserve to win it. And we won it at Wembley. We never win at Wembley. We never beat Liverpool. And we've done both things today.
You were comprehensively better as well. It's not like you just you squeaked it. Like you could see that scoreline and think, oh man, like maybe, and then you might hear Newcastle won it with a set piece or whatever. But no, you were comprehensively better than them on every part of the pitch today.
I mean, I think it could have been more. Bruno had a real good half chance. Again, off a corner that Dan Bird did down. And he just had a sort of flick header that he didn't really connect with. I thought that was an excellent chance. Sometimes when you see chances like that go by and you think, oh dear. But constantly Bell all over the pitch. And I think Liverpool were just reduced to seeing how much shit they could throw at the wall and hoping something sticks.
Liverpool's only chance was the goal.
Yeah.
Literally,
but also,
the goal.
Hooking Konate was interesting as well. So I know at that point you're 2-0 down and everything, I guess. But it's like that kind of showed you the levels of desperation. It was almost like, and I guess there was sweating over his fitness anyway. So it might have just have been that they played him and he wasn't. They might have done an Ange special there and just rushed him in, even though he wasn't necessarily ready. But it just seemed interesting. Like they sort of like you say, going hell for leather, in terms of the changes. But they didn't seem to know what to do against it.
No, they absolutely weren't ready. And something else I found strange. It'd be interesting to ask you. They had a stat during the game about Cody Gakpo getting 9 goals in the League Cup over the last 2 years. Why wouldn't you start him? If someone's been bagging goals constantly in a competition, sometimes you just have that thing about it. Didn't start him. Trippier done a job on Diaz. And had a good game. Even when it looked like it pulled up, he carried on. Yeah, they were just second best all over the park. And there was a point, when Liverpool did start making changes, I actually thought it could have been any score because with Isaac on, you thought, I think any break they're gonna do him again.
Yeah, I totally agree on pretty much everything that was said there. And I've been a big advocate of what Schlott has done this season. With the tweaks he's made, the way he's gone about it, the way they've managed to get deep into the second half of the season and teams not figure out the way they play. But today, he got outdone by Eddie Howe. Whether it was Eddie Howe had a game plan based on Liverpool going through in the Champions League and going through in 90 minutes, and then deciding once he saw them go to penalties and saw how leggy they were, that we were going to go at them, regardless of whether that played an effect. I think Eddie Howe completely outdid Schlott today because we dominated the game. This isn't like we've scummied a 2-1 from corners. Like the only real chance they had, they scored. And we could have had 4 or 5.
Yeah, no, I totally agree.
I've got to admit, there was one moment I had like where the Isak goal gets disallowed just before the second one, and that little moment made me go, was that it? Was that the moment they could have wrapped it, and then it was going to turn like was the tide going to turn based off that? But
mate, my rage levels were through the roof at that point because I still do not understand how that's not a goal.
Yeah,
and I was still arguing. Not with my uncle. There was another Liverpool fan to the side of me. The only 2 Liverpool fans I realised were in the building because they were like decent Liverpool fans. We was having good conversation, good bit of banter. Yeah. And originally went to me, Bruno's in the eye line of the goalie. And then the replay showed and they stopped it. And I was like, how? He's not in his eye line.
He made the save. Oh, sorry.
Yeah, he made the save, but they give it offside against Bruno. He's not touched the ball. He's never in the eye line of the goalie. And then it drops to Isak, who buries. And then a minute later, we go and score. So me and the other Newcastle fans are going crazy at that point. And I'd completely forgot about that until you just mentioned it, John, to be fair. But I was raging for about a minute at that point, thinking this is the turning point. This is where they then go on and get an equaliser and then go and win it.
I don't know whether you could hear the commentary like in O'Neill's or whatever, but what they basically said, like Neville was saying that apparently it's because the keeper had to reach around Bruno, like Bruno. That sounds brilliant, doesn't it? But he had to make the save around Guimaraes, which is why apparently Guimaraes was deemed offside. And I still, to me, it still made no sense. At the end of the day, he's not interfered with it, in my opinion, and like Isak's in an onside position. So to me, it should have stood. But
yeah, it literally makes no sense to me why that goal was disallowed. But we scored a minute later, so it makes it a little bit irrelevant. But it's still a conversation to be had as to how that can be disallowed. To be fair.
Speaking of keeping related issues, I was interested with the keeper situation for both teams. Mitch, could you clarify, has Dubravka played all of your League Cup games?
Okay, so when the teams were announced today, that was my only disappointment. Because I'm pretty sure I said on here back in it might have been after the first leg of the Arsenal game, where it looked like Dubravka had said goodbye to the fans. And then he signed a new contract not long after. And I was like, he deserves this. He deserves the run in this competition to go to the final, whether we win, lose, or draw in the final. He deserves this. And I love the club for giving him that extension to go to get to the end of the season. And then I was a little bit disappointed he wasn't in the starting lineup.
Whereas I'm obviously you don't know what Howell has said to the player, but I don't know. I think there's something about having your first team keeper in for a final. I know sometimes promises are made to players like you'll play all these cup games. But if I'm Liverpool, do you play Alisson? It's just look. I think that Kira is a decent keeper, but he's not Alisson, is he?
No,
Sometimes he's. Yeah. What do you think on that, John?
I think you go with your strongest team in the final. I don't think Newcastle came into the game in a position where like they're, it's the first trophy they've won in our lifetime, right? It's like you can't. I don't think you can do that. I think Pope had to play today for me. I get the sentimental reason for wanting Dubravka to play. I totally understand that. If Saints were in this situation, I'd want the first team keeper playing. Not this season, of course. Well, actually, no, Ramsdale will be fine. He's one of the few players who's done all right. But yeah, in theory, you want your first team keeper.
Yeah, it's
hard. And I wholeheartedly agree on that. When the teams were announced, I was a little bit annoyed, but I understand the decision because if everything of Howe's plan goes wrong and Liverpool are on top and we need a goalkeeper to make saves, I want Nick Pope in goal to make saves. Simple as that. Down to footballing ability, playing out from the back, because we didn't even attempt to do that today. That was part of the plan. So the best goalkeeper for the plan that we laid out today was Nick Pope, and it worked. We have won our first domestic trophy for 17 years, our first trophy in any competition since 1969 today. And anyone who questions it on whatever basis they're questioning it for dropping to Dubravka, who's played in every other round for Nick Pope, is crazy. We are not Liverpool. We are not Man United. We are not Chelsea. We do not win trophy after trophy after trophy. Go and win the trophy that's in front of you with the best team you possibly have.
Yeah, totally agree. And I found it interesting because, to be honest, I looked at more on Liverpool. I would have played Alisson myself. But you still dominated all over the park. And Isaac's one of the best finishers, if not the best, most informed finisher in Europe right now. So I don't think it would have mattered because it was a lovely finish for that second goal. Yeah, and do you know what? I did giggle with that second goal, Mitch, because the much maligned Jacob Murphy winning Robertson in the air at the back stick for a good
the towering header.
Yeah, considering both on and off air, there's been a few jibes about him. I was delighted for him.
Again, I'm not going to come on shameless and turn around and go, yeah, I'm a massive Jacob Murphy fan. He's another one. He is the main one in our predominant starting 11 this season that I'd want to replace. But I will say that I also did post on the Newcastle forum before the game that today is a Jacob Murphy game. I don't give a crap about your pass completion. I don't care about your take-ons. I don't care about how well you've tracked your left back if nothing happens from them moments. Go and give me GA. And that's what Jacob Murphy's done for us this season. Go and win us a game by getting a goal or an assist. And technically, he's done that. He's done that in today's game. So for me, he's done what he needed to do today. I don't think he's a brilliant player, and I still want to improve on him next season. But he has done what I needed Jacob Murphy to do today.
He put in an absolute shift today.
Yeah.
He was on his feet, and I hope he enjoys a good beer tonight.
And that was a good version of Robinson today, by the way, because I saw him outpace Isaac a couple of times. Whereas a few weeks ago, I thought his legs were gone.
I think Isaac was. I wouldn't be surprised if he's done all he can to make sure he's fit. When I saw that sprint with Robinson, I'm like, Isaac's carrying something. He's playing.
I don't think he's injured. I just think he's fatigued, to be honest.
Yeah, well, sometimes that's just as dangerous as having an injury. Because if you're knackered and you go for that sprint, that's when bad things happen.
Yeah, but go on, John.
No, I was just going to say, after the second, there was a lot of times Isak was just bombing it. It was sort of like trying to close down keeper, like trying to close down everything. And it was like, so if he was carrying something, he was risking it.
Yeah.
Sometimes you just don't have a choice.
Adrenaline, right?
Yeah.
And I think that's the difference between the two teams, because clearly Liverpool were leggy today. I'm not going to say this was a brilliant Liverpool performance and we just battered them. Like, they weren't great today. But the difference between the two teams today was our boys gave everything until they could give nothing else. And the Liverpool boys kind of sort of felt sorry for himself for going out of the Champions League, but also like content. We've won the league. Like, this isn't the be all and end all for us. As much as Newcastle fans, Newcastle as a club, today was the be all and end all for us.
Yeah.
The reality of this is where we want to go. This is the start of things to come. This isn't we win this and then don't win another trophy for 70 years. This is win this and build to the next thing. And as much as my emotions today, the way I reacted to the win and everything was just win today and forget everything else. Now it's been and done and everything's closed out. As a club and as a fan base, everybody's like, right, done. Celebrate it. What's next? We go again. We have to move on from here. This can't be a one trophy done thing. And I don't think our owners will abide by that either.
I mean, he could play 4D chess, like give up on the league for the rest of the season and just win the Conference League next year based off of today.
No.
He obviously won't. I agree with you, Mitch. I think you will finish in the top 5, so I think you'll be in the Champions League next year as well. I think that gives you a huge chance keeping Isak. I think he stays if you do that, but almost certainly. Be interested to see how you recruit.
See, now that's the key. The recruiting is the key. So I think today secures everybody in that squad. If as a club we want to keep them, they stay. The problem is now, if we rest on our laurels and don't either qualify for the Europa League or the Champions League through the league positions, we can't attract new players to the squad. And that's why we need to now go on and get the Champions League football through the league.
Speaking of league positions, we had almost a full round of Premiership fixtures this weekend.
Oh, God, no, not this again.
So, John, don't worry, we'll keep it brief, mate. Right. I think we were all invested in Liverpool, Newcastle. So no one watched Man United, but they were comfortable 3 winners. Højlund broke his duck. He's finally scored. Leicester looking a bit tragic, to be honest.
Apparently, Leicester haven't scored in 7 consecutive home games, which is now a record.
Yeah.
I mean, I couldn't believe that when I heard that. 7 consecutive home games without a goal.
Yeah. They're not good. After their tactical masterclass against Ipswich the other week and beating AZ Alkmaar, Tottenham lost to Fulham. Imagine my shock.
A friend of mine that's a Fulham fan, I think, went to the game and he said, I've genuinely not seen us have an easier win all season. I haven't seen any of the game, but it sounded poor from a Tottenham perspective. But
I would like to just interject ever so slightly. As much as I love Sean to bits, he's a great friend of mine. But some of the talk from the Tottenham fans when the lineup came up actually annoyed me. I was looking at their team and they were like, yeah, Gray's in midfield and we're going to do great and this is fantastic. I was just looking at the team thinking, that's bang average. What are you guys looking at if you actually think this is a good football team? And I really hope Sean didn't go along the same lines because their side is terrible if that's one of the best sides they can put out. Just look at it and think, who's going to create chances? And even when you create the chances, who's putting the chances in the back of the net?
I think it's not even that team selection that really comes to mind. I think it's more, as soon as I saw that team selection against Alkmaar on Thursday, it was just a case of, where like all the eggs are in that basket and he's throwing a Hail Mary at this point because genuinely, I think he put players back into that starting 11 that genuinely probably weren't fit enough to be in it. Or at least anywhere near 100% anyway. And I think that obviously then today he's just written off. And he just knew he had to win on Thursday. Today was irrelevant. And I think there's other Spurs fans that I talk to that are giving it the whole, yeah, well, it's only the Europa League that counts from here on out anyway. The league's irrelevant. I don't know, man. it's a poor showing. They've lost like over half of their league games this year. It's like
They've lost
15 out of 29.
15 in the Premier League. Do you know how bad that
15 games out of 29, right? And it's like, do you remember all the love when Ange came in? And it's like they've genuinely had a purple patch in his first 3 months and never been back there since.
Mm.
It's mad.
Yeah. Well, let's not talk about them too much. We'll save that because I think me and Mitch are going to have to endure more Tottenham tears tomorrow.
Oh, tomorrow night, yeah.
In the other game of the day, Arsenal beat Chelsea 1-0, and I watched that. And the most interesting thing was Arsenal took 2.5 minutes to take a free kick. Other than that, Trossard dived, like a blatant dive. Neither team were very good. Chelsea are really hitting the skids. They're in big trouble. They're in big trouble. Do you know what? Arsenal will be pleased with their win. It's always nice to beat London rivals, but I don't know. There's just something about them that looks like the race is run. Again, as always, Tottenham and Arsenal fall into the same thing. They're going to have to put all their eggs in that European-shaped basket.
100%, because that Arsenal result today, once Palmer's out, you need to beat that Chelsea team by 3 goals. There's nothing in that Chelsea attack once Palmer's not there. And for them to only go there and get a 1-0 from a scummy little corner is just pathetic.
And no Jackson either.
Nah.
No Jackson for Chelsea. Sancho was poor.
They're all like...
Oh, no.
The whole front 4 of Chelsea are nice football players. They're good on the eye. They're silky. They can do a little trick. They can beat them, man. But they've got there's no cutthroat there. None of them are going to just create an assist out of nothing. None of them are going to get on the edge of the box, beat a man and bury a bottom corner. None of these are like legitimate top level goal creators or goal scorers. So you need to go and slap this team. I'm not being. We've got to play them in a few weeks, and this might come back to bite me. But if they put that side out against us, we bury them differently.
Mate, you can make as many bold claims as you want because you've won a cup. I dined on that. I dined on that for a good couple of years, so enjoy it. Interestingly, actually, the most interesting thing about that game was not the Arsenal free kick that took 2.5 minutes, but they don't time waste. Reece James played holding mid, and they took him off after about 70 minutes for Lavia. I mean, every time I've seen Lavia play this year, I would start him if I could.
He's superb.
Yeah, well, John, you'd know perfectly well about that. I think he's a great player. Reece James in midfield because they played sort of 3 centre backs. I know we're going to go on to some England chat later. I wonder if that's what's in Tuchel's mind.
It could be.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I think he's a decent. I quite like Reece James as a third centre back because I think he can defend, and I think he has got good distribution. Unfortunately, he's just had a rotten time with injuries.
Yeah, I agree. And the holding midfield role doesn't really suit him. I'm getting Javier's brilliant, but you also get treating him with kid gloves at the minute where he's been out injured. He's had a lot of injuries for a young man. Got to sort of slowly get him back in.
Yeah, well, I must say him and Casado next season, if Chelsea don't have a fire sale to balance the books.
Yeah, they can't be having a fire sale. They've just signed 2 youngsters randomly outside of the transfer window for like 20 million combined that are coming in the summer.
All that vast majority of that squad's locked in on like 7-8 year deals, aren't they? So like it's a fire sale. Like teams aren't going to come and pick these players up like without really like heavy. So there's going to have to be a lot of heavy wrangling to be done in order to get some of them out of those deals at a decent price. Who's going to pay that sort of money?
Quickly, do you think they've kind of sleptwalked into a Manchester United situation? Because again, they're another club that have these players, long contracts, very expensive contracts, and then when they decide they change a manager or change the vision, they can't get rid. They're stuck with it.
The only thing I disagree with what you've just said there is the word sleptwalk. They haven't sleptwalked in there. they've banged the door down like the police trying to go and arrest someone.
Yeah.
It's not by accident. They've done this deliberately.
Yeah.
And they know that they have to get Champions League football this year, next year, the following year, the year after that. All of this madness that they've done comes back and bites them in the arm.
I tell you, I agree with you on that in the sense of, but I would say the only thing I disagree with Stocks about that is the Man United comparison. I think this is a Leeds comparison. This has got, I mean, I know we're talking two different eras, and I know obviously financial things were very different at that time. They are, but like, think about what Leeds did. Leeds got into that boat where it's, all you've got to do is miss out on that Champions League once, and the slope is just, it's such a decline. And like, I think Chelsea are like they're heading towards that.
I can see it. I can see it. The only thing I could disagree on that one is they've done it to such a scale that the fall off the cliff is still kind of balanced in the top half of the Premier League. So even if they need to get rid of the top guys, they've signed so many guys that they're looking to build into superstars that they will still finish top half of the Premier League. And the way we're seeing with the coefficients at the minute, top half of the Premier League gets you European football.
Pretty much, yeah.
But if they don't get back to back Champions Leagues, they're always going to be stuck in that sort of weird middle ground, and they'll become a Crystal Palace, a Fulham, a Bournemouth, one of them teams that are stuck trying to bridge the gap because they've already spunk their load right now to try and catch Liverpool, Arsenal, and Man City.
Speaking of Champions League race, there was a couple of big games on Saturday that encompassed this. I've got to start with Forest. We all kind of had a feeling they'd drop off, but they're banging the door down, aren't they?
Yeah, man. I was on here a couple of weeks ago saying that I was convinced they were going to have a drop off. Yeah, that's come back to bite me, that one. Absolutely.
Whoa. Like, I've been banging this drum since November, December. This is Ipswich.
Yeah.
That relegated Ipswich. Let's not pretend they've gone out and they've beat a top half side. It's Ipswich. Like, I'm still adamant that they're right on the end of that cliff.
Well, coupled that with Manchester City losing more points at home to Brighton, who have been on an upturn of form recently. Yeah.
And had chances to win it.
Oh,
big,
God.
Big chances to win it.
Yeah.
Dubious
goals disallowed as well and all sorts.
That one where he's gone sliding in at the back post and somehow it's gone through his legs.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
What's his name? I can't. Bodia.
Minte.
Oh no!
It was Yakubu Minte.
Yeah, Minte was the Gaza slide.
And then there was the centre midfielder knocked one over the bar. There was
Belieber,
that was the one.
Yeah.
Belieber. You know what?
Yeah.
This is me giving myself away here. I watched the feed. It's rolled into this feed, and it pauses about 2 yards before it gets to him. And I'm just looking at it thinking, I don't want to go on X. I don't want to go on my live score because he's going to bury him, and I don't want to know until I've watched him bury on the screen. The screen catches up, and he skies that. He's got to bury that.
Yeah. I think there was another chance. Is it Hinchelwood or something like that? He goes for the shot when he could have squared it to that guy Welbs for a tap in. So really, they could have quite comfortably strode away with all 3 points.
Yep. But you know what all of that plays into? An even better weekend for me.
Yes. Yeah.
And I don't want to be a prick about it, but I sat in the pub earlier and the Newcastle fans were chatting about today's game, and I was like, do you know what? Away from the cup final, this weekend has been practically perfect for us. Practically perfect. If Ipswich somehow could have stopped Forest winning, which no one believed they could do, it would have been perfect. But that's the only result that I look at there and think that went against us this weekend.
I believe
Sunderland got
at Coventry.
What was that, Stocks?
I believe Sunderland got banged at Coventry as well.
Oh, yeah. Fantastic. I think our game in hand will either be Villa or there's two other teams. I can't remember who they are that are on that list now.
Palace ain't played this weekend, have they? Like, I'm just...
No.
Yeah, so it'll be Villa, Palace, or Someone middle to bottom half. Can't think of who it is. It's gone.
All right. Let's tidy up the other ones. Brentford won away at Bournemouth. Brentford won a few games on the bounce. Bournemouth, I think, have lost 4 on the bounce or something like that.
Yeah.
Worst possible time for them.
Basically flipped their home form onto their away form. They basically didn't lose at home for most of the first half of the season. Now they've won like 500 trot in a row.
Yeah, there was some very pretty graphics for that on Match of the Day. The swap of form with for all you OCD heads out there, it was wonderful looking. Wolves got a win. We'll leave it there, John. Did you go?
No, I didn't. To be honest, from what I gathered from it, so I did blind match of the day yesterday. So I actually avoided everything. And then 10:30 tuned in. And, oh man, if you've never done it before, it's an experience. I don't know whether you two could do it, if I'm being perfectly honest, because I don't think you'd wait till 10:30 to like avoid everything that had happened. I just happened to have one of them days yesterday where I was like, I can actually just avoid. If I just put my phone in another room, I'll be all right here. But then you go through the nerves of like waiting to see where you're going to be in the running order, and they slapped us bang in the middle, and it was only 5 games, but I was like, oh, that could mean anything. But then I suddenly got this like whiff of optimism. Yeah, it's just I don't. It seems like from what I'm gathering is like he took off Matty Fernandez at half time, which went down like a pork chop at a bar mitzvah, and he then went on after the. Well, no, he came out after the game and made some comment about like I didn't like the way he played. And it's like, mate, he's pretty much like outside of Ramsdale, he's pretty much the only person that's given you like 120% all season. Please try not to unsettle him. Yeah, it's just it is what it is. We are where we are. I'll at some point do a much more deep dive onto that, but it's not that night, man. This is Mitch's time tonight. So
Yeah, fair enough. And finished 1-1 in the Moyes derby. Didn't sound very interesting. West Ham played better second half. Everton got a late equaliser. I think a draw would safely be a fair result for both teams because neither of them are particularly good, but we're not bad enough this year.
where'd you rate your league season at the minute, Stocks? Because it's been a bit like
again, much like your thing with the Southampton, that's a deep dive thing, and I believe Mitch has got something in mind for that later on in the season.
Oh, great! Yeah, we'll wait. I'll wait.
Yeah.
Quite a lot of stuff pretty soon.
Yeah. Well, I was going to say on our main topic, but we're fully aware that the Carabao Kings Newcastle were the main topic. But going on to second billing for topic. This week, Tommy Tuchels' England squad, or first England squad, was released. If I was going to sum up in a word, I'd say contentious. How do you feel about it, Mitch?
Like, it's a weird one for me, yeah. I'm fully behind Tommy Tuchel because he's one of the managers that I'd look at and say that he's a tactical manager. He'll make adaptations when he needs to make adaptations. Slight, not massive. You won't, like, if you're just someone who watches football for the sake of watches football, you won't really notice what he does. But he makes slight tweaks. But this squad, for me, is wildly lopsided. And there's a few names in there that I don't like being in there. I don't get why they're in there. That makes no sense to me while certain men are in this squad.
All right. I will get onto more personnel and names and whatnot in a minute. But how did you feel when you saw it, John?
All of the above, from what Mitch has said, I think it's also about that. I mean, I can think of one glaring name who's not in it, and I'm astounded by it. I think when we come on to personnel, we'll talk more about that. But I think, there's just some eye-raising decisions is the diplomatic way of putting it, I suppose.
Yeah. I mean, from the one,
I think the 4 keeper thing threw me a bit as well.
Yeah.
I was like, I didn't get where in any stretch of the imagination he needs 4 of them. You probably could have, you could arguably have left Henderson or Henderson or Ramsdale. I actually be bringing Trafford along for this one. Is it would be warranted and actually be good for him. Like looking to the future. I think you bring Pickford. I don't see why you necessarily need all four. Maybe it's just because he wants a closer look at them. But for 2 games, seems excessive.
Yeah. Does anyone know? I can't remember. I meant to jot this down before. Who our 2 games are against this international break?
Albania and I think it's Latvia.
Yeah.
It's Albania Friday.
Right. Okay. Okay. That makes me wonder a couple of things. Well, in that case, I'll go on to say if it's those 2 sides, I would have liked some bolder choices.
Yes, it's Latvia. Latvia's the second.
Yeah. Like Mitch says, I think it's a very lopsided squad. I think we are seriously top heavy. Looking at the list of midfielders, I'd say 1, 2, 3, 4. Well, I don't think Palmer's a midfielder. I don't think Rodgers is a midfielder. And Jones is what? Should we say an attacking midfielder? He can play deeper. Maybe he wants to try having these attacking midfielders play these deeper positions in teams they should dominate. Do you think that's a shot?
It could potentially be, yeah. But I look at this squad and a little bit like what John said with the goalkeepers. Don't get 4 goalkeepers. I fully understand that at some point during training you want 2 small-sided games. So you need 4 goalkeepers. You don't want to chuck the goalie coach in because it's a little bit unfair because he's old and he's crap or he's never played at top level. It's one of them reasons, yeah. But you don't officially need to announce 4 goalkeepers. That's the thing that annoys me with that because we did it in the Euros. We took someone like Newcastle have done with John Ruddy. We've got like 92 goalkeepers at the club, but most of them are on loan, and we've got 4 that train every day. And John Ruddy is never, ever, ever, ever going to play a game for us. But if we want to do two small-sided games, he's there, which is fair. So the next point you said about the lopsided thing is the squad he's picked seems to be that he's picked a squad that can only play 5-2-3. Like there doesn't look to be any variation. He's picked a few number 10s that don't look like they're ever going to get on the pitch unless they're playing wide in a 4-2-3. And he could have picked other number 10s that can do both. There's players we're going to get onto in a bit that could fill both roles. And some of the players he picked just don't fit the roles that it looks like we're looking to play. Like even if you look at the defenders, it makes no sense. I can't understand his squad. He might lay a team out, and once he's laid the team out and they start playing and I see the pattern of play, I might completely change my mind. But the squad on paper makes no sense to what we're trying to do. It just smacks of any other of the random managers we've had over the years that will just pick players because of their name and then chuck in a few random others to appease people that don't really know an awful lot about football.
I like your last point there. I've got to admit, Mitch. Right, let's get on to personnel. John, or what are the names in the squad that are making you, we'll politely say, scratch your head? You can add as many expletives as you want.
Jordan Henderson strikes a nerve. Curtis Jones.
Really?
Curtis Jones, he's one I don't get for me. Not sure he's in Liverpool's first team enough for my liking. Kwanzaa would be another one. Not someone I see playing enough like week in, week out. I mean, with the keepers, like I said, I'd say I take Mitch's point about the two small sided games and so on. I personally think Trafford's earned it. I know he's not playing in the Premier League, but I think actually he's having a phenomenal season by any stretch. He's certainly worth being there. You could argue, does the Ramsdale or do you need both Ramsdale and Henderson basically? Yeah, they'd be miles. I mean, there's a name in there I'm interested to see what Mitch thinks of, but we'll pass over to him and see what he says.
Well, go on, Socks.
Mate, I was going to ask you, Mitch. Obviously, I think we'd all say Hendo. There's lots of reasons. I complained about it enough previously. I really don't want to waste more of my voice on him, to be honest. What other names in there have left you scratching your head, mate?
Well, I think the screenshot that's up now sort of sums up my feelings towards this England squad of players that one of these players this afternoon shouldn't be in this picture, to be honest, after what's happened this afternoon. But the other 7, they've all got question marks over. Like Phil Foden, I've been one of his biggest backers, but he's had a terrible, terrible, terrible season. Like, he doesn't get in a Man City side. He doesn't start for a Man City side. That everybody involved at Man City will agree have had a terrible season. Whereas last year he got PFA Player of the Year. Kyle Walker has left Man City because he weren't good enough. He's gone out to AC Milan. Don't know if he's tearing up trees or not, but it's irrelevant. We've got some very good right backs. Reece James, just back from injury, played quite well today from what I hear. But again, can his body hold out? Why are we bringing in a guy that's just back from injury, that's literally injured all the time? Bringing him in to train and play games when he could be having a little rest to make sure that he doesn't get injured again. It makes no sense. Rashford, crap, for Man United for a very, very long time. He's gone to Aston Villa. Yeah, he's had a few good sub appearances, but that's warrant an England call up. And the other 3, like Solanke, Henderson, and Kwanzaa. Is that really the best England can serve up for a squad? That's Roy Hodgson type of picks to me. When I saw Thomas Tuchel announced, in my head I was like, this is going to be different. But looking at it, this is no different to anything before. It's just players at big clubs or with big names getting picked to chuck into a squad for the sake of it, when there's so many other players that deserve to get called up, and it's just annoying. It makes no sense to me. Like even before this afternoon, yeah, and I've had way too much alcohol today. I'm not even going to lie, and I'm going to be so biased on this. After today, I understand the Dan Burn thing. But before today, like, Dan Burn performed man of the match today because of his call-up. Before today, I wouldn't have had him starting for for Newcastle, if Sven Botman was fit. He's now in the England, which has then had a collateral effect for him to be man of the match in the Carabao Cup final. Nothing against the guy, not good enough for international football. We need ball players, like ball playing centre backs that are great at defending, that can also play football. That's not Dan Burn, I'm sorry.
Yep. That's very
Totally
fair.
missed Solanke. When I was when I looked up and down the squad, I totally missed Solanke because I think we'll come on to. There's definitely a glaring name that I can't believe is not in there. But
on the Solanke thing, I don't know how many league goals he's got, but again, to follow on from Mitch's point about players that are not played regularly, Solanke's only just started getting fit again, and you've got Delap. And really, is he worth it? Why not chuck in Delap, who I think he's been in the under-21s. He's had a few goals this year. All right, his form's tailed off, but he is playing for Ipswich. Why not give him a call? Because we've already mentioned the calibre of the opposition we got. So why not get him in? I mean, it's kind of hard for strikers because you're always waiting if Kane fancies it or not.
Yeah, I get that. Is Ollie Watkins injured? Am I missing something here?
Well,
yeah, that was my question.
Like, yeah. What the hell is going on? How is Solanke above Ollie Watkins? What are we doing here?
Yeah, that's quite frankly, it's outrageous. Like,
I haven't even factored Ollie Watkins into my unlucky not to get a call up in group because it's just stupid.
Yeah. So we've mentioned the stinkers. Let's talk about the ones we feel maybe feel a bit hard luck for that they're not getting the recognition their form deserves, perhaps. Where do you want to start? Where do you want to start? You go on, John. You pick one, and we can all pick the players off as we go.
I think Morgan Gibbs White was the name that sprung to my mind. I was astounded he didn't get a call up.
Yeah.
Like, and it makes me wonder about what Mitch said about is he just picking players that are going to play a certain system, and he just looks at Gibbs White and says, "You're not my guy for that system, irrespective of form."
Mm.
Yeah, but then on the flip side, you say that the man next to Morgan Gibbs White in this picture is Adam Wharton. If he wants to play 5-2-3, Adam Wharton's probably one of the best players that are English that we can pick in that two. Like, it makes no sense. Like, you can instantly counteract his reasoning with an argument that makes a lot more sense than what he's actually done.
Yeah. Oh, mate, totally agree. Totally agree.
Even Elliot Anderson.
Well, I was going to say we probably pretty smooth for us if we went on to his two Forest counterparts. Both had cracking season. I really hadn't seen much of Elliot Anderson myself. Like he was never really a regular for Newcastle, but I've got to say, been impressed with him. All right, he's not the best thing since sliced bread, but he's a man in excellent form for playing for a side that's third in the league. What more is there to question, really?
Like Elliot Anderson, has had calls from both Ireland and Scotland to go and play national football for both of them nations. He's turned it down because he wants to play for England. What is the point if Jordan Henderson is going to get brought back into the squad, who has been doing nothing out in Holland, while Elliot Anderson is sitting third in the Premier League with Nottingham Forest, playing next to Ryan Yates? Like, make it make sense for people.
And do you know what? Further to the point of Henderson, what is the point of having him there when you've got Declan Rice, who more or less plays every minute of football he can, and you've got Jude Bellingham, who is world superstar?
Yeah, agree. The only reason this makes sense, is that if we got to the season and he was still unsure on these players, and he's like, right, I'm taking players to a tournament that I know have been to tournaments. I know they can deal with the pressure. I know they can deal with being away from their family and all of that nonsense that goes with it. That is the only time it makes sense. But these friendlies, this is the whole point of them. To bet these players into the squad. To get rid of all of the old men that don't actually add to the playing side.
Yeah, this ain't no happy. You don't need no one in there clapping, calling everyone's name for saying well done.
If you need someone in there who's going to be a great captain, that's going to clap people and going to shout at people, then you need to be a better manager. Like, you can't carry a body to motivate people. Like, one of us or yourself has to do that. Like, it's just horrible when people say that. Yeah, well, they're great around the squad. I don't care. You can hire as many staff as you want to do that. Don't fill up a squad space with some guy that's going to be great around the squad. Who cares?
The Connor Cody role.
Yeah, it's dumb. It's the stupidest thing I've ever heard.
It's 8 Sunday mornings for the geezer that gets the most runs in afterwards.
Exactly.
Hudson-Odoi, would you think he would have brought value to this England squad? Would you say he's had better form this year than, say... Well, I think he's definitely had better form over the course of the season thus far compared to Foden and Rashford. Although Rashford's picking up, so... But yeah, over the season...
Is
that name value, though, that's got in there?
100%.
Yeah.
He's played for a big club. He's still in the Champions League with Villa. He's got a big name. It's the only reason he's there. Like, if any person looks on any metric between Rashford this season and Hudson-Odoi has performed better.
Yeah.
Simple as. Rashford was in a team that was sitting, 14th, 15th in the league. He's moved to Aston Villa, who is sitting 10th in the league. Hudson-Odoi is sitting 3rd. And he's been there all season, and he's been contributing all season. He's been scoring goals. He's been getting assists. He's been the reason why teams can't defend properly against Nottingham Forest. Like, what is the point of these players playing well? Like, I actually had to Google whether Hudson Odoi had pledged his allegiance to whatever one of his parents' native country was, to try and figure out why he wasn't in the squad.
Yeah. Speaking on the name thing, I had a feeling that Bowen weren't going to get picked because I thought there'll be some just standard bog names just chucked out, and I thought he might have suffered. I genuinely did. I thought Tuchel would be a bit more outside of the box, considering he's managed in this country. He's had a while to watch. Like I'm sure the FA hook him up with TNT and Sky, so he can watch every game he wants. I'm a bit surprised. So we've done midfield and attackers. Let's talk about the defensive players there, because I don't think England have been particularly good at the back for a long time, and it's safe to say there's never any balance there. And well, you're not far off a back four there with the defensive players.
A very good back four at that, by the way.
You'd have some balance, wouldn't you?
You could lay that back four out and put it against a back four that you could put together from the squad, and there'd be arguments to be had of which one's better.
Yeah. I'll tell you what, it may sound counterintuitive, but I'm going to let Mitch talk about Wan-Bissaka.
Right. Okay. So this for me, as much as it took a while for me to add him to this conversation, this for me is the most bonkers decision in the squad. Cole Walker's back in, Wan-Bissaka's not in. Right. I've watched Wan-Bissaka against Newcastle a couple of times, and I've watched West Ham 4 or 5 times outside of that, and every single time he's been excellent. And I'm one of these people, that once I'm programmed a certain way, it takes me a long time to get out of that programming. And I was always programmed to believe that Wan-Bissaka was a fantastic defender, but rubbish going forward. But now that I watch him, and I actually, this is like from me just reading stuff without watching him play. People are like, he's a great defender, doesn't contribute enough going forward. But I've watched him quite a lot for West Ham, and I remember back to his time at Man United and Crystal Palace. I don't ever remember being that rubbish going forward. Like, he's not Silky, he's not Trent, he's not Reece James, but he's competent. Like, he finds the man and he makes a second run, and he gets wide and smashes the ball across the box like a fullback should when they're unsure of what to do when they get level with the box. And for me, he's been excellent this season. So for Kyle Walker to be in, who has only been in based on pace, is crazy to me. Whether he wants to play Kyle Walker right centre back or wing back or full back, I do not care. Any one of them 3 positions, I'm picking Amram Wan-Bissaka.
That's fair. I'm gonna mention Mitchell. I don't think he's been in the best form. He hasn't played his best football recently, but call me old fashioned, but I do like a left-footed left back. I like a bit of balance in my team. I mean, he's a decent athlete. He's going to give you width. And again, we've mentioned the standard of opposition we're playing. Why are we not blooding this player? See what he's like. It's a no-lose game. Do you know what? If you get him in training for 2 weeks and you don't fancy him, fair enough. Do you know what? Fair enough. No one's lost. All right, it's upsetting for him because obviously he wants to be an international footballer. Don't we all? But I don't see how he's not been tried. John, can you talk to me about the last fullback in this pick?
Jed Spence.
Yeah.
When I look at who's gone, like, so if we go back into who was there, we had sorry. So fullback wise, okay, you could argue Reece James, but like Reece, so we got Reece James. Livramento could play on either, so I was kind of happy that was stuff of that. Spencer's kind of been mainly playing like on the left, hasn't he? Like at Spurs recently. So if you're going off of that, I'm like, if you're telling me Lewis Skelly and Livramento are there ahead of him, fine. On the right, I personally don't agree with Carl Walker being there for I think reasons stated. I think his race has long been run. I think to be honest, even in the Euros, like in the summer, I think it was blindingly obvious that his best days were behind him at that level. And even against teams that you wouldn't necessarily think are that a lot or even that impressive. So yeah, I think like I say, if you're talking about bleeding in and getting a closer look, and you fancy this player, yeah, he's probably hard done by not to come in. I'd say, but I don't. But I would say like more so Wan-Bissaka like on that side.
My little one on Spence is, do you know what? He's been all right. Like, I'm not going to say he's played poorly. He's been all right. But also, I think there's mitigating circumstances at Tottenham. Like, everyone's saying, oh, he's great, he's great, he's great. It's because everyone else at that club's been a shower of shit. So, I think that contributes to it. Yeah, he has been good. But I think it's just easier to say, well, we need to mention a Tottenham. Like, has he been that good? Like, Livramento's comfortably been better. A lot of people tell me I like Miles Lewis Skelly's great. Like, I think it's a bit soon for him to be called up. I would have probably called Spence ahead of him. I think it's a bit soon for him. Everyone tells me he's great, but I think it's a bit too soon for him. In that case, we've got two players left.
To be fair, just before we move on to anybody else, as much as you said Lewis Skelly, yeah, that Jarrell Kwanzaa.
Yeah.
Every defender we've mentioned so far is ahead of Jarrell Kwanzaa for me. What is this dude doing? Like, what is he meant to be good at as a centre back?
Yeah, he's
Like, is he a centre back? He played right back today, yeah. Like, I get the Livramento thing. He's played right the whole time. Lewis Hall's been fantastic. He's got that England left side locked down for me, whether we're playing wing backs or full backs. I get why Mitchell's in there, because if we play a back four, Mitchell, great, solid. Not great going forward, solid. Going the other side, we play out from the right with Trent. We can shuffle into a back three. Fantastic stuff. But what is the point of a Kwanzaa? As Americans would say, if they looked at our squad and read through our squad, they'd be Googling, what is a Kwanzaa? Who is this guy? What does he do? What is he meant to be good at?
Is he a regen Joe Gomez that can play right back, left back, centre back?
Who is
with your first player?
Like, what is the point of this guy? Like, I would much rather Wan-Bissaka or Spence to go into the squad who can actually legitimately be athletic and joining going forward, as well as playing right of a back three. Because Joe Gomez is not a good centre back in a two. Neither is Jarrell Kwanzaa. So if they're right of a back three, as long as they've got the right guy in the middle, just play one of the fullbacks there. Like, it's not hard. It's not rocket science. It's just crazy to me that we're bringing in these random guys because they play for Liverpool. Like, he's not good.
Oh, mate, I agree. I hope you two won't mind my little indulgence, but I've been banging a Tomori drum ever since he went to Italy, and I still don't know why he's getting overlooked. All right, Milan ain't the great side that they used to be, but he's still playing regular football. Is European football. I don't see what he's done. What he's doing wrong.
Honestly, again, I had to Google it. Like, I had to look, because for me, in my head, for the last 18 months, Tomori's a Nigerian international, or he plays for Ghana or someone like that. I don't know where his parents are from. Don't mean any disrespect if I've got any of them nations wrong. But for me, he plays for some African country every single international break at centre back. Because apart from maybe John Stones, outside of that, I'm struggling to think of a better centre back that we have.
He's a proper. He's a defender. He's a proper defender, and for a side that I don't think defends very well, I just don't see. I don't see how he's not had a sniff. And this is not a Tuchel problem. This is going back to previous managers too. Even when he was in some fine form early on in his Milan career, just weren't getting a looking from Southgate either.
Yeah.
Is he in the bad books at the FA? I don't know.
Do you know what I'd really love? Is for someone to come out who's either close to Tamori or close to the FA that have been part of the discussions and turn around and go, you know what? He's just turned around and said, you know what? It's long for me. I don't want to do it. I can't be bothered. I'm going to have my rest. I'm going to do my best for Milan. I do not care about the international team. Someone turned around and said that, and it was out there. I'd be like, yeah, it makes sense in my head now. But right now, for me, as someone who doesn't like things not making sense in my head, it's so confusing that it's frustrating and annoying at the same time.
John, you got anything on Tamori or Jake O'Brien? Sorry, Branthwaite.
Yes, I think with Tamori, it's like is there something to be said that it's just a case of like the way it operates, like Tuchel sort of gets around to Premier League grounds like when he can and whatever. Is it sheerly the fact that he's in Italy, like, and it's just we just don't get out there and bother to watch him, and like or there's no one checking out like how he's. I just fail to believe that in this day and age that can be possible.
I'm going to interject for about 3 seconds before you carry on, John. Was Tamori not at Chelsea with Tuchel?
He might have been.
Yeah, he may well have been actually.
Might have been.
Ooh.
It's even more confusing for me.
Or did Tamori go like? Oh, maybe I don't know. Yeah, that'd be an interesting one to find out.
Yeah, I'm never Google that quick enough.
That's all right. Yeah, I mean, Branthwaite, like again, like he's playing regularly, like in a fairly decent, like in an Everton side that have been fairly resurgent and actually quite good at the back. Like not particularly like easy to play against in the last couple of months. So I sort of look at that squad that we've got there and go like you kind of even if you like whatever you would play like a back two or like a centre back pairing or as a free. And it's kind of hard to model together. And the best you get as a pairing is probably like Konza and Gay. You'd imagine would probably be the pairing. If you was going to play that as a free, is he chucking Carl Walker in on the right of that? Like, is that where we're going?
Well, Gay has to play.
Yeah, oh yeah.
If like Branthwaite for me is the only one that kind of makes a little bit of sense.
Okay.
Because he plays left of a free at Palace. And if he's sold on Gay left of a free, then there's no point in bringing Branthwaite in. He might as well look at other players. But that's the only time it makes sense. But also to consider on that, Mark Gahey is right-footed. And he's also better than all of the other centre-backs that he's called up. So why not just move him to the right or the centre and play Branthwaite, who is also better than all of the other centre-backs that they've called up, and play him on the left of the free?
Yeah. I'm surprised with the Branthwaite. I said quite a few months ago. I usually stink the house out of predictions. I'm like, as soon as Everton get him in, they'll be fine because he's that good. And next to Tarkowski as well. Or like, he's never getting an England call, but again, he's having a very good season because he's just a good defender. Sometimes, do you know what? The best 11 players don't make the best team. Sometimes you just need someone to do a job. Obviously, it doesn't matter in the friendlies we can have, but yeah, I feel a bit sorry for Branthwaite.
But that seems like what we've done. That exact line, the best 11 players do not make the best team. It seems like exactly what we've just done. Like,
But then,
square pegs,
sorry.
square holes, make it work. It's the best way to set up a football team. Like me and Stocky used to manage a Saturday team, yeah, and players would drop out Friday evening, Saturday night. I mean, Friday evening, Saturday morning, and you turn up and you set out a formation, and everybody would look at you and go, "What the hell is this mad stuff you've just made up?" And it'd be like you're all playing in your actual position. Like, ignore the numbers I've just said to you. You're all playing in your actual, but it's square pegs in square holes. And sometimes you had 7 square pegs in 11 square holes, and you had 4 players doing a job. But that's as many square pegs in square holes as you could get. This is the England national team. Like, we should have 25 square pegs that all fit the hole you want them to fit. There should be no random shapes trying to get into different shaped holes. That seems like what we've done for so long for no reason when we have a whole nation worth of players to pick from. And I actually believed, probably because of how much I didn't like Southgate, that Tommy Tuchel would be different. And it's just the same crap. What is the point?
Do you think for some of these players it's a case of like if they just like well for a lot of these players if they were just wearing a completely different badge does that automatically put them in the squad like based on what you're saying as well because
Without that.
like, you think like Kwanzaa like come on man like this is silly like we're better than this like but what if Braithwaite suddenly had like where he was being touted with that 70 million move to Man United or whatever I'd argue if he'd have had that fucking move he'd probably be in the squad.
And not play as well. And not play as well and be in the squad.
Yeah, exactly that. Yeah.
The Forest boys, yeah, I agree with it. Palace boys and probably Brentford.
Yeah, Wharton also.
But the other 3, Bowen's in the squad. Like Tottenham media darlings, they're considered part of the Big 6.
Solanke's there and he probably shouldn't be.
Exactly. Like AC Milan, in all of our lifetimes, are one of the best European teams out there. So the top 3 that we're looking at shouldn't have an issue here. Everybody below that has probably got that argument, yes. But like, why are we still having this conversation?
I think we all hoped that Tuchel would be different. I wouldn't. What we know is, Mitch, we're sorted for a topic once the England games are over because we could be pulling them apart straight away.
I'm like now I've seen the squad. I wasn't for this pull England apart stuff anymore because I thought it'd be different, but it's not. It's the same. So if we're not great and we look rubbish, then I'm not gonna do the whole thing that I've done so many years before. It's friendly. It doesn't matter. It's just looking at players. You can look at players and we get to the tournament, it'll be different because we'll get to the tournament, it'll be the same crap, and I'm bored of it. Bring in someone with some bollocks that's going to pick a team that is functional, that works, that wins us, that is going to win us a tournament. I'm so bored of it. Like, that should have been my thing for the last 30 years until today. I should have been like, well, at least England can win a tournament. But, like, we've had so many good players and we haven't.
Just to spin back around to a player that's not on that graphic, but we did mention earlier on. Could either of you give any indication as to why you think Watkins is not in that squad? Have you heard anything? Is he injured? Hasn't looked injured whenever I've seen him.
Exactly. Sorry to cut you off, but I would have put him in the graphic. But I just assumed he was injured. It's so obvious that I didn't think he was left out of the squad for any other reason other than injury.
But
That is genuinely what I thought.
When you see Solanke in there and Watkins isn't, you sort of think, hang on a minute, like that's what you do. Something I was going to ask though. How long do you give it, like Monday, Tuesday, before about 2 or 3 of the sides with stuff to play for start pulling players out? Because like Chelsea have started making the Palmer noises. Like he's not going to like and all of that. So like, do you reckon we're going to see? Because it always happens. So like Man United, Liverpool, Arsenal all suddenly start withdrawing players and whatever. Do you think we're going to see any of that?
Well, I've just had a quick jump on the Google copter, and apparently Watkins has a minor knee injury.
Okay,
fair enough.
That makes more sense.
we can hold off on the rage. I'm still not sold on Solanke being there, but I can understand it a little bit more.
But then, all right, cool. Let
I would have liked the lap.
Let me sort of entertain the people for a second, yeah?
Yeah.
So we're talking about Watkins, potential injury. We're talking about Liverpool players, stuff like that. Liverpool have won the league, yeah? Done. Doesn't matter. So for the likes of West Ham, Tottenham, Everton haven't got a player in the squad, so that doesn't make sense. So Bowen, yeah, Solanke, and why would these two not drop out? Because the way the English teams are going in Europe, we could potentially end up with 10, 11, 12 places from the league going into Europe next season. So these are the teams that are most likely to withdraw players. So most of the squad will stay together because everything else is done. Arsenal are not playing for anything. Liverpool not playing for anything. And we've called up random players from these squads for no reason.
Yeah. I just feel I am feeling a bit numb about it. I mean, trying to scrape a positive from a negative. Do you reckon maybe he's pulled some of these players in to have a look and then go, nah, definitely don't want. I don't know. That's or am I just scraping? Just
I don't buy it.
no.
Players he's brought in are players he would have seen before, either against him, against teams he's managed and stuff like that. The players we're looking at now, apart from maybe Tomori and Mitchell, and maybe a little bit of Hudson-Odoi, he doesn't know any of these players. He knows nothing about them. Like, he wouldn't have played against any of these players over here because he was gone before they kind of... Okay, maybe Wan-Bissaka a little bit, but the rest of them either weren't in the Premier League or they were at Premier League clubs but not starting games when he was managing over here. So 5 of the 9 that we're looking at right now, he knows nothing about. Whereas if we roll back to the previous graphic, like, he knows everything about all of these players apart from Gerald Kwanzaa. Like, he knows everything about all of them. He's played against all of these players. Dan Burn was at Brighton. Jordan Henderson was a mainstay in Liverpool. Solanke was at Bournemouth. Rashford, Man United. Reece James, he managed. Carl Walker's been around for years. Foden's been around for well long enough for him to manage against. So he knows about all of these players apart from Gerald Kwanzaa. So that doesn't even make sense.
Yeah. Well, Mitch, just when we thought we'd cracked it, get rid of Southgate.
Oh, mate,
maybe it's not the managers. Maybe it's the FA. Maybe
in my head, I genuinely thought Southgate, after the Italy game, was why we didn't go on and win that tournament and why we wasn't better in the next tournament. But right now, it's just like, it feels like being a Newcastle fan under Mike Ashley. We're going nowhere. Like, this is us. Accept it. Live it. Don't expect nothing, and you'll be a lot happier than when you actually feel like there's belief that you can win something. And this isn't me talking because we've won a trophy today, because this is how I felt under Mike Ashley. I'd given up. Like, today was so emotional for me because 4 or 5 years ago, before the takeover, I was done with thinking we were ever going to win a trophy in my lifetime. So for the quick turnaround and to do it by beating Liverpool, top of the league, Arsenal, second of the league, Forest, third in the league, Chelsea, contenders for the top 5, to do it in that way had an effect on me. And that's why I was emotional today. Not just because we won a league trophy. We could have beat 4 League One teams and then beat some dusty team in the final. And it wouldn't have had the same effect. But we've done it in a way where we beat top teams to get there. And it just feels different. It's not just the Carabao Cup. It just feels different because of the way we've done it. And it feels like it's the start of something that's happening at Newcastle United rather than just a fluke that we've managed to pull off. Whereas if England won a tournament, it'd be like, great, we've won a tournament, but we're just going to roll back to the usual crap we've been seeing for all of our lifetimes through some of the world-class players. We can list off world-class players we've had. Gerrard, Lampard, Scholes,
Rooney,
Tuchel, Rooney, Shearer, Owen, Ballon d'Or winner Owen, by the way, Rooney. Like, there's loads of world-class players we've listed off, and we watch the same crap over and over again. And it's now got to the point where I just think it's not the managers anymore. All of the managers look like they're going to do something different. Hoddle, Keegan, there was another one. Who was the manager during Euro 96?
Venables.
Venables. Slightly different techniques. Didn't last very long.
No.
You toe the line, you last for 8 years. You don't toe the line, you last for 1, 2, 3, max.
Yeah. Well, I think we're so going to have to get into that one deeper on another show, the FA, because
Yes.
no one likes them. Well, I think we've pretty much I think we covered the England thing. Are you going to be watching the games midweek? Did you say what? We got one Friday, then another one Tuesday or something.
Friday, Monday.
Friday, Monday.
I'll watch the games. I'll watch any football, so I'll be there watching.
Do you know what? I don't know. There was a point where I wouldn't miss a qualifier. I used to really I enjoy it. It's something different. I'm one of them rare fans that doesn't mind international football. But even now, at the minute, I'm a little bit. Do you know what? I'll record it and then I'll watch it if I wake up early before work, sort of thing. I won't be adjusting plans.
Oh yeah. I'm not altering my schedule to watch England. Let's just say that.
Yeah,
I may potentially be getting a ticket to Friday, but I don't actually know how that's panning out at the minute.
Do you hate football or something? You go and watch Southampton, and now you're going to get a ticket to go and watch England.
Could you? No, I mean, with this one though, I'm not actually paying for it. It sounds like it's like a mate might get it through someone he knows through a company, that type of thing.
You don't need to explain anymore. You need to say it's free.
Yeah, mate. We are big fans of the comps. We are big fans of complimentary tickets.
They don't come round often, put it that way.
Oh, mate. What, does that mean you're going to have like a nice seat?
Possibly. Yeah, maybe.
Is he going to get some
buffet?
buffet?
If I do, I might have to vlog it.
Yes, mate. We're going to need, if there's free food, we're going to need a stringent update this on the next show.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
See how that pans out.
Yeah, it's just a matter of time before we evolve into just a footy scran show.
There's nothing wrong with that.
Well, I suppose there's only one person we can let wrap up the show. Yeah, it's all yours, John.
Imagine that. No, give it to the man himself, man. He deserves it.
The usual, my brain is cleared ever so slightly, so if you need to see me and Stocky again, we will be on the Monday pitch tomorrow evening. I could potentially be appearing on other random shows at other times, but you'll find out about that. But outside of that, signing off from the Carabao Cup winners 2025. Away the lads.
Oh, yeah.